Good morning and welcome to Fans Banter. A small little channel, not trying to cop anybody, just doing our own thing. Liverpool fan. Perhaps if you've stumbled across the video, you might like to give us a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy the video. It's a very important weekend for Arne Slot. Liverpool face West Ham after what's been a kind of a miserable week for Liverpool. Dreadful performance against PSV. Arne Slot might find himself he has found himself in a lot of difficulty at the moment, and he may be close to getting sacked, unfortunately. But that's the way it's panned out for Arne Slot so far this week, or so far this season. It's been a dreadful start to the season. Arne Slot being under pressure, it's a question of what sort of team will he put out. I happen to believe that Arne Slot, it's on the bottom of the screen there, that if he doesn't win the next 3 or 4 games, he'll probably get the sack. So two things can happen with there. Two things can happen with that. Arne Slot can either change his thought pattern of the way he's doing things, start to play a few different players, but there's also the possibility that he'll just dig his heels in and reckon that what he's doing is correct, and he'll just throw the dice and see where it lands. But so far, things haven't gone well for Arne Slot, and the players are really underperforming. So not to change things might be a bit of a risk for Arne Slot at this stage. So now this is the time of the week where I would probably sort of try predict what sort of team Arne Slot will put out. I've been pretty close so far on a couple of occasions, but I'm not going to do that this week. I'm going to put out a team that's totally different. It's a team that I know Liverpool will never start. Well, Arne Slot will never start now at this stage if he thinks that he's in trouble himself. I'll bring it up on the screen there and I'll talk about it. Now, I know before you look at it, it's a team that will probably never start for Liverpool, but it's worth discussing. It's worth looking at to show there are options available to Liverpool, that we don't have to get bogged down with the same players over and over and over again. So as you see there on the screen, I would have Alisson in goal. I presume he's recovered from whatever illness that he's had and he's ready to start. Left full, I wouldn't go with Kerkez, I'd go with Andy Robertson. I think experience is very important now, especially since we're playing so bad. In the middle, I would drop both Virgil van Dijk and both Konate. I think Virgil van Dijk's performance against PSV was nothing short of criminal. I have no idea what he was doing when he handled the ball. There's a narrative going around social media when you look at some of the clips when they're all put together, and the narrative of them has changed a little bit, that maybe the players are not happy with Arne Slot and they want him gone, and that the handball was deliberate. When you look at it and you think of it that way, it's hard to argue with that it was deliberate. And you see Virgil van Dijk for one of the goals as well, probably not running as hard back as he possibly could to try block a cross coming into the box, which ultimately led to a goal. There's also the thoughts that Salah didn't track back in one of the goals as well, and that Curtis Jones just let a player go, and Konate making inexplicable mistakes that you just don't see a professional footballer make over and over and over again. But anyway, so I would drop the two of them. I know that's not going to happen, but it's just an idea to show that we do have alternatives. So I'd put Gravenberch and Gomez as two centre-halves. Gravenberch has played there before. Gomez has played there before. And I don't see why not that they couldn't play there against West Ham. Right full, very difficult place for Liverpool at the moment. A lot of injuries. I suppose in an ideal world, Conor Bradley will be there, or Frimpong will be there, but they're both out injured. So I would go with Curtis Jones. I know he didn't perform too well against PSV there, but he has played there before, and that's where I would play him. In midfield, I would go with Endo as a holding midfielder, and McAllister and Szoboszlai. I think that's when you take out Gravenberch from the midfield, I probably think that's the best option there. There would be an option for playing Endo in at centre half and leaving Gravenberch in the middle, but I think Gravenberch has probably played more at a centre half than Endo has, and Endo will be more familiar, I think, anchoring the midfield. Out on the right, I would have to say it's time for Salah to just take a rest for a while, and I think it'd be a good idea to give Chiesa a game, and it would be worth looking at Chiesa in a game that is not already dead, is not already gone, and see how he performs. I thought when he came on against PSV, I don't think he actually did too well. I thought he was a bit rash, he was a bit petulant almost, and created needless fouls when he was trying to win the ball back. I think that might be born out of a bit of frustration from Chiesa himself. Look, I like Chiesa, but the simple facts are we just don't know how Chiesa will do in the Liverpool team because we haven't seen him in a Liverpool team. I'd like to see him get a run or 2 or 3 games, and then maybe I could make up our minds, or the fans could make up their minds and say, yeah, maybe the manager's right, he's just not right for Liverpool. But it'll be disappointing if Arne Slot loses his job and then the new manager starts playing Chiesa and he looks great. That's going to be disappointing, especially if our season is well and truly over at that stage. Yeah, so I for one, I'm not 100% convinced on Chiesa. I think he has done well at some times when he's come on, and then there's sometimes he hasn't done well at all when he's come on. I think against PSV, I don't think he did well when he came on. So I would like to see Chiesa start, just so I can get an opinion of him, so I can form an opinion that if he's going to be a Liverpool player for the future. Because he's only, he's 27, 28, I think. So if he does well, we could easily get another 3 or 4, 5 years there with Chiesa playing well in that position. Would be good for Liverpool. Now, out on the left, I think it's time to give little Rio a chance. I don't think it does that young lad any good throwing him into a game that's already gone or finished. I know he came on against Newcastle in the cauldron of Newcastle and scored the winning goal, but that was a different Liverpool back then. But to put him on in games now is just like a lamb to the slaughter, I think. But it would be good to see him get a chance when it's 0-0. Let's see what he can do, put him out there. One of the reasons I would put him out there is because I think just to change things up a bit, give Liverpool a little bit more spark maybe. In the middle I'd go for Isak, because I think Ekitike is probably still injured with his back. Well, I don't know, but I think Isak will probably... Look, we paid a lot of money for him. Let's just play him. That would be my thought pattern now at this stage. There's no point in waiting for him to be perfect. Let's just put him on, just play him week in, week out, see if he can get up to speed, see if he can get some sort of rhythm going, see if the Liverpool players can get some sort of rhythm going with Isak. So that's what I would do. I know it's never going to happen. You're never going to see that team lying out. Particularly now since Arne Slot is under pressure, he might be just digging his heels in. He might just put out the same 11, but maybe 1 or 2 little tweaks, and just hope for the best. But I firmly believe that Arne Slot is probably faced into a very difficult few weeks, which will either make or break his career at Liverpool. And that's how I feel about it at the moment. What will he do? Who knows what he will do? I would doubt if Arne Slot is sitting right down now, wherever he is, knowing what he's going to do. And that's that's a strange sort of feeling to have, because it wasn't so long ago that Liverpool were looking so good and so strong and so assured of themselves. Now they don't look so good. They're not looking so strong, and they look really fragile. Is that a question of just everything just being all off? Is it a question that the players have down tools and they have no interest in keeping Arne Slot as their manager? We've seen it happen before. It's not an improbability that it wouldn't happen at Liverpool. When you see some of the players playing against PSV and see some of the body language and stuff, it just didn't look great. So that would be a team that will be worth putting out. It'll never happen. I know it won't happen. I mean, it's like fantasy football sort of stuff. Arne Slot is just not going to put that team out. But I think Liverpool need to have a look at players. There has to be some competition. There has to be some thought pattern that if I play shit, and a lot of players are playing shit, that I'm just not going to play next week. But at the moment, players can think, I played shit, but I know for a fact I'm still going to start. That has to change. That whole dynamic of, I'm shit, but I'm still going to start next week, it's got to go. Okay, that's it from us. Prediction. I predict a score draw. I don't think Liverpool, I can't have any confidence that Liverpool are going to West Ham and win. West Ham are on a little bit of a run. They have a little bit of confidence back after a very poor start to the season. So I have no reason to predict that Liverpool will go there and they will win. So I'm not going to say Liverpool are going to go there and get beat, because I just can't comprehend of Liverpool going to a team like West Ham saying, yeah, we're just not going to get anything from the game. So I'm going to go for a draw, and probably a score draw, and that's what I think the West Ham game will be. Let's hope it's still Arne Slot there at Christmas. Let's hope it's still Arne Slot there at the end of the season, because if he is, that means it was just a blip.